What's up, you guys? Welcome back to WIDEBODY Nation. This is how to drive a stick shift car, a manual, part 2. This is my wife, Meg, and on a scale of 1 to put your hand in a blender, she is probably at the right side of the scale for being on camera, so be nice to Meg. This is her normal car over here, Toyota RAV4 2020, best color. We'll get to that later. She has already driven my 2019 Subaru STI S209. She drove it when it was making about 400 horsepower, and I believe it was still on the stock clutch. So today when she drives the new 2022 WRX, it does have the 6-speed and it does have the short throw shifter in it. I think she's gonna have a lot easier time with it than my kind of crazy race car spec Subaru. And honestly, these WRXs are easy. So with that being said, Meg, let's go ahead. It's not even adjusted for her yet, so that is step 1. Make sure your learning person or your student adjusts their seat. So let's head on over and get started. Alrighty, so while she's getting in, she's gonna be adjusting the seat. It is a manual seat for this car specifically, a manual seat for a manual car. So she's gonna be adjusting it. You wanna be in a nice athletic position. Meg, do you mind turning down the AC just a bit? I know the climate control is bottom. Yeah, these new touch screens are a little bit annoying as far as AC goes. So she's putting herself in a nice athletic position. Notice she also has, athletic shoes on. I would recommend either athletic shoes or even going barefoot so they can actually feel the input. So this is your seat back right here. That's your seat back for this. And then this is up or down if you want the seat to go higher. I think you already found the front and back, right? Okay, yeah, so she's jacking herself up here so she can see over the dashboard and to be in, like I said, a good athletic driving position. You do want your knees at a good, like, kind of almost 90-degree bend when you're driving stick so you can get that power, whereas I know a lot of people like to drive farther back when they're just driving a automatic. Keep in mind she has done this once or twice. Again, we are in the new 2022 Subaru WRX. Just to show you that third pedal down there, she's got her foot on the brake. Alrighty, all adjusted, Meg? Yeah. Good enough for now, at least? Maybe a little back, yeah? Okay. Yep, there's the clutch. Now push it all the way in. Go up forward a little bit, yeah.
Just so I can get it on right.
Yeah, okay. Sounds good. All right, so she's all adjusted for now, at least. We're just gonna be driving around the neighborhood today because this is part 2. Part 1 was the parking lot, which I really suggest you guys watch because it is definitely helpful for someone who's never driven stick before. So notice, I'm gonna close her door and I'll just walk around the car, get in my seat. But notice how I have set her up for success as far as putting her on a flat surface, and we're gonna be going down the driveway. That is one thing I'd recommend for you guys to do if you're teaching someone, is set them up for success. Don't start them on a hill. Don't start them on some crazy surface where they're just gonna stall and stall and stall. All right, so before Meg gets started, it's a hot day, so we're gonna have to keep the AC on a little bit, guys. I do apologize for that, but because it's probably gonna be in the audio. But make sure your area is nice and clutter-free. Obviously, when you're driving stick, this area is much more important. So make sure any clutter is out of the area. And if you guys are in an unfamiliar area and you're actually trying to have your friend, your spouse, your significant other drive on the roads, I would highly recommend you put an actual map up, because even if they think they know the area, it'll help them out to know when the turns are coming, to know when the stops are coming, and things like that. I mean, these are things that everyone takes for granted until they're kind of like freaking out when they're driving stick. And I know it sounds weird, but once you try to teach someone to drive stick, you will know exactly what I am saying. Once you're in the car and your driver is adjusted, make sure you go over the different inputs to the vehicle with them. And yes, I do have you guys kind of in a zoomed out mode right now so you can see the shifter, see the parking brake, see Meg, and obviously the clutch and everything. So with that being said, the one adjustment she did make off camera was the steering wheel, because, you know, I'm much taller, so I'm much farther back. So she actually pushed the steering wheel in so she doesn't feel like it's right in her face. So that was a good adjustment on her part. Depends on what kind of car you are in to adjust that. The first thing you're going to introduce them to is the clutch. So go ahead and put your left foot on the clutch and just kind of push it all the way to the floor, and then push it all the way back out. Now, obviously, if this is not their first time driving manual, they might say, you know, why am I doing this or something like that, but it's important for them to make sure their seat's adjusted all the way so they can push the clutch all the way in and all the way out, and they're not feeling like they're in some sort of weird compromising or not athletic position. Next thing they're going to be introduced to is the parking brake right here. So Meg, if you want to keep your right foot on the brake and then take the parking brake off, and we'll see if we'll roll at all. You know, take your foot off. Doesn't really look like we're rolling at all because we're on gravel and we are not on really any type of incline. With that being said, go ahead and put the parking brake back on. Give it a good haul right there, and then we're gonna go talk about the shift lever a little bit. Now, we're gonna get familiar with the shift lever with the parking brake on, just so that we don't have any rolling issues or we don't really go anywhere. We're not really gonna mess with the clutch too much, other than the fact she's gonna depress the clutch to the floor for obvious reasons, because we're gonna be manipulating the shifter. So, Meg, why don't you go ahead and push your left foot all the way to the floor, and then put your hand on the shifter and start going through the gears. In this car, it's 6 speeds. So first gear is up and to the left, second gear is down and to the left, third gear is straight forward, fourth gear is straight back, fifth gear is up and to the right, and then sixth gear is down and to the right. That might have been sixth gear, or that might have been fourth. I think it was 6. Yeah, it looked like it was 6. Okay. And then last but not least, remember, okay, so remember, if you find yourself in a position where you don't know where you're at, luckily this car actually has a display in there, and it shows you what gear you're in. So Meg, put it in first gear.
Where?
I'm gonna need you to put it in first gear so you can see. Is the clutch in? Yeah. Okay, so that if she took the clutch out, it would actually be displayed what gear she was in right here. Now, the car isn't technically in gear right now because the clutch is not out, so it's not displaying it. Go ahead and put it back in neutral. Remember, neutral is what, Meg? Remember, if you're able to move the shifter side to side, that means what?
Neutral.
Right. So you're in neutral either by pressing the clutch in or by being in a position where you can move the knob left and right all the way across the shifting range. You can relax on the clutch for a second on your left foot just to let your foot reset. Okay, so last thing we have to do for manipulating the shifter, in Subarus, you have to lift up on this knob right here, this disc, in order to come over and then go into reverse. So Meg, why don't you push the clutch back in, and then you can go into reverse. And then over, way over to the right, way over and down. Yep, and that should put you in reverse. Okay, so that is all of the inputs that we're gonna be dealing with. The last thing to remember is, let's put it back in neutral before we do the last thing. Okay, and then you can go ahead and pull your foot off the clutch. Okay, the last thing to remember is that in the gauge cluster, the tachometer over here is something to keep in mind. So right now we're idling at about 7,000 RPM, or 700 RPM rather. We're not redlining at 7,000. So at 700 RPM, that is where the idle of this car is. Now, before we get going, since Meg has never driven this car, she's gonna test where the clutch engagement is. And a great way to do that is to put the car, you can leave the parking brake on or you can't. It doesn't really matter, because she's literally just gonna be testing where the clutch is engaging. So Meg, what I want you to do is I want you to put the car in first gear, but before you put the car in first gear, since we're not gonna roll anywhere, why don't you take the parking brake off? Okay, so parking brake is off all the way down, right? And then put the car into first gear, and she's literally just going to try to feel where the clutch is gonna engage. So what I mean by that is where the clutch or where the revs just start to flutter and fall. So she's slowly letting out on her foot right now to see where the car is gonna start engaging. And it looks like we might be getting there. Yep, there it is. Oh, okay, so just push it back in, there we go. So we're not actually trying to get a start right now. She's just getting a feel for where, you know, I think this clutch probably goes in 6 to 8 inches. She wants to feel where, you know, at what point the engine and the transmission are actually coming together at the clutch. So do you want to do that again, Meg, or do you feel like you have an idea?
Do it again. I'll do it again.
Okay, so she's gonna do it again. And now watch the revs when she's doing it, because this is something I don't see in many videos. So she's literally just kind of She's pulling off the clutch, and then we're starting to roll forward here. Yep, and then she just pushes it right back in. And you guys need to remember that the ultimate reset for a manual car is just to put the clutch in. If the car is doing anything crazy, just push the clutch back to the floor and it will all go away. The problem that most people have is that when the car starts bucking or doing anything crazy, they let the clutch all the way out, and then that basically seals in the flavor of whatever they're doing. And if they're not doing the right thing, that's when the car takes you for a ride and either shuts off or stalls or does anything crazy. All right, so judging by the fact that Meg has actually moved us forward several feet both times without stalling, I think she's ready to go ahead and slowly move down the driveway. We're gonna go and just kind of cruise around the neighborhood. So Meg, if you are ready to roll, we can get this show on the road here. Parking brake is off, so she is free to go. Looks like we're in first gear.
Okay, so that's what you do, is you just put it in first and then roll to start.
So yes, that's good that that you brought that up, because when Meg was doing that and finding where the clutch engages, she actually wasn't giving it any gas. And that's the beauty of a lot of these modern cars, is they have the power and they're so smooth that you don't need a lot of gas to get them started. Older, less powerful cars, you needed to use your right foot to give it some gas. So why don't you use your right foot and give it some gas here?
With the clutch in?
Yes, you can for now. Okay, yep. Alrighty, so why don't you go ahead and put us back in neutral before we move out, because that is a good point. If people aren't learning in a brand new car, they're gonna really need to practice giving it some gas. So you can let your left foot out. And now I want you to practice giving it enough gas to go up to about 1,500 to 2,000 RPM. A little more. There you go. So that's right about the amount of gas that you're gonna need, whether you're starting on a hill, whether you're starting flat. That's gonna guarantee you that you start moving rather quickly. Now the key is that, remember, Meg's left foot is gonna be coming out, but her right foot is gonna be pressing in and holding and then going down. So that is the thing that most people mess up when they're driving stick. Is, can you hold the camera for me real quick and just make sure my hands are visible? So most people mess it up because their left foot is going this way and their right foot is going this way. This weird motion, simultaneous, is what messes people up, because they forget about one of them. They either forget about this, they forget about their gas foot and it comes up and that's why you stall, or they automatically push the clutch back in and start doing some crazy stuff because they're not used to using their left foot, okay? So your motion literally looks like this. Clutch in, no gas, start giving it gas, start releasing the clutch, and you basically are mirroring the opposite actions, if that makes sense. So with that being said, Meg doesn't need to use any gas, but I'm gonna have her use some gas while we roll out down the driveway just to get ready for what is to come. All right, so Meg, if you wanna just take us away. Clutch in, first gear, gives it a little bit of gas and starts releasing the clutch. As long as you have a nice smooth clutch release, you are gonna be okay. So the gas is secondary to the clutch, because if you release nice and slow, you're gonna start moving and the car is going to engage. You're gonna be good to go. Yep, just keep giving it gas and keep releasing the clutch. Keep giving it gas, keep giving it gas, there you go. And now we are on the way. So as you guys saw, Meg fell off the gas there a little bit, but it was okay because she just did a nice smooth release of the clutch. So let's go ahead and take a left out of here, Meg. All right, so we're just gonna coast, you know, I'm not gonna do another start and stop right there. All right, so we're moving. We're coming up to a stop sign already. So this is Meg's first real world stop sign, I do believe. So we're gonna come up to it, and as we coast up, make sure you push the clutch in with your left foot. Push the clutch in. Now she's still in first gear, so no need to, you know, manipulate the shifter. And let's go ahead and take a right-hand turn. So use the blinker. And then go ahead and do our normal startup. Now notice she is rolling back a little bit. Yep, that was a lot of gas, but that's okay. That's better than no gas. Yep, go, yep, there you go. Alrighty. So now we're moving. I'm gonna do
What am I supposed to be doing with the clutch right now?
nothing. It's just me all the way out. You can leave it alone. All the way out. All the way out. Yep. There you go. And now we're gonna take a right-hand turn.
But I have to push the clutch in.
Yep, yep. Push the clutch in to stop. And then she's gonna start again. Now once we start going down this hill, we're gonna go ahead and get into second gear, which she's gonna show you guys again. Make sure you guys are letting the clutch all the way out once you're in the right gear though, because that's not somewhere you don't need to drive with your foot halfway on the clutch or some crazy stuff like that. Okay, now start accelerating a little bit and shift to second by pushing the clutch in and moving the car into second gear. Push the clutch in all the way, push the clutch in and pull down to second. No, down to second. Down to second. Yep, and now she's in second. Now let the clutch out. Okay. So we actually kind of outdrove second gear a little bit. This is second gear territory, you know, 15 to 25 miles an hour. That's second gear, so she can use the gas to get up the hill a little bit. Use the gas to get up the hill. A little more. Okay, and clutch in and brake. Clutch in and brake. You need to go back into first gear though.
Oh.
So center and up. All right, let's take a right-hand turn. So right blinker on. All right, right-hand turns are obviously easier than left-hand turns, folks, because you only have to basically check one way. She's on a little bit of a hill again, so she's gonna have to start up using some gas. Now, okay. All right, so Meg got started right there. All she had to do was just give it a little gas, and what? You found the engagement point, right?
Yeah, I should be in second gear.
Yeah, you could have went up to second, or you could have just coasted here. That's a lot.
How do you coast?
By pressing the clutch in.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why manuals used to get better gas mileage, is because people would coast a lot, and it uses like no gas. Okay, so Meg is going to take a right-hand turn and head on up the hill. She's still in first gear. Give it some more gas, more gas, more gas, more gas, more gas. Yep. All right, let's make our first left-hand turn right here. There's no stop sign, so that's a good spot to make your first left-hand turn. Okay. Now give it some gas so we can get up the hill. All right, shift to second. Clutch in, clutch in, clutch in. Shift to second. Okay, you gotta take your foot off. You gotta remember to take your foot off the gas when you switch gears.
What do you mean?
You need to take your foot off the gas pedal when you switch gears.
Oh, okay.
All right, so we just encountered one of the things that, you know, is much different driving a manual car than driving an automatic. Is when there's a stop sign, you can really stop wherever you want in an automatic car and it doesn't matter. Whereas in a manual car, if you're going up a hill and then the stop sign is at the top of the hill, it's in your best interest, especially as a learner, as a new driver, to stop where you're not going to be as much on a hill if you can control it. So we're going to go to the right here and show you guys what we mean. This stop sign up here is right at the top of a relatively gradual hill, but it's a hill nonetheless. So Meg is in second gear right now. She's just gonna roll up to the stop sign, but make sure.
Keep it in second. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, you can roll up to the stop sign in second gear, and then you just keep going. Keep a little bit more speed you need to carry into it.
Okay.
Yep, and then clutch in, and stop. Okay, so before you start up again, Meg, notice that we're at the stop sign here. Obviously, there's no cars on the road, so we have the luxury of doing basically whatever we want. What I mean by that is most people might stop a little bit farther back on the stop sign or farther forward, but like she stopped in a good spot where we're not really going to roll forward or backward. So in order to start up again, remember you need to go into first gear. All right, and now we're going to go ahead and make a right-hand turn, and we're going to cruise around the neighborhood a little more. More gas. Remember, you want that gas foot to just stay steady and honestly increase a little bit. You don't want that foot to come up at all. All right, shift to second, clutch in, and now clutch out. There you go. All right, so now we're in second gear. We're gonna cruise around in second for a little bit. Once we get up to the top of this hill, we might even switch to third just to get another gear change in, especially since that's up and over to the center. The nice part about a lot of these newer cars is that second gear and first gear are pretty similar with their gearing, so you can mainly cruise around in second. You don't have to shift down to first very often. We're gonna keep going straight and let this FedEx truck pass. All right, we're gonna make a right turn again. And Meg's gonna show you that you could start up in second if you wanted to. So clutch in and stop. Seems like she's getting better at that. That's how you stop. Clutch in and stop. All right, let's leave it in second. We can show you that you can actually start up in second if you really need to, or if, let's say you're coasting, just make sure you give it enough gas, Meg, please. Yep, keep giving it gas, keep giving it gas, keep giving it gas. All right, so you'll feel the car lug a little bit because that's not technically the right gear to start in. But if you have any momentum, like let's say you're, you know, between 2 and 10 miles an hour, just coasting up and kind of rolling through or wherever you are and just staying in second is not a big deal. Why don't you switch to third quickly? So clutch in, up and over, and center. There you go. And now clutch out slowly, but yep. Yep, third. That's third gear. Okay, so now she just practiced that. Clutch in and stop. What's that?
Don't I need to go into second? I can't start in third.
No, you're not going to start in third. Start in first. And that's the thing. Some people I know, this might sound crazy too, but you can skip gears, guys. Like you can go from first to second to fourth, or you can go to third down to first. Like you don't have to follow the gears, especially if you went from driving 30 miles an hour and then you stopped. Obviously, you need to go back into first gear. So, Meg, let's go ahead and take a left-hand turn if there's no one behind us. So this is our first kind of hard left-hand turn. She's on the hill, so she keep giving it gas, keep giving it gas. Yep, yeah, go, 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 go. There you go. All right, so you guys saw it. She caught it. We rolled back considerably, but she did give it enough gas where the car still caught itself, and she kept giving it enough gas so that we didn't stall. I thought we might stall there. Now she's gonna shift to second, and now re-engage, and good to go. All right. The shifts will get smoother over time as you get more used to the car. So we're gonna drive around a little bit. Let's go ahead and go a tiny bit faster. There you go. Now we're not on a big road or anything, so we can't really go that fast, but honestly, once you get into third gear, that's pretty much it, folks. I mean, it's going from third to fourth to fifth to sixth, that's all the same. It's really the first to second that is, yeah, that guy was not looking. So you're in second. So second gear, at least in this car, is good for pretty much anything you're doing at low speed. So as long as you don't stop, Meg, you won't stall, and just leave it in second so you don't have to do any extra shifting. She's just gonna go ahead and turn us around. Good to go. Now you can feel the car lugging a little bit, but again, as long as you have some speed with second gear, I don't see a reason to always shift down to first, unless you just are in it for the sport.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that guy likes to go full turn. I guess it's not a zero turn mower, huh? Alrighty, if you want to, once we get past this truck up here, if you want to speed up a little bit just to do another shift into third gear. I know it's kind of a blind, yeah, we won't come back here again.
Why would you park there?
Big brain. Alright, now speed up a little bit. Get at least 20, a little more. Now shift to third. Clutch in, up, and then, oh, there we go. Now let the clutch out. Alrighty, and she is in third right now. As you guys can see, it's on the display right there. Not that you really need that. A lot of people have always commented, oh, I wish there was a display for my gear, but once you guys get comfortable driving manual, you'll realize that you like never, ever look at that. So Meg is in third right now. She needs to go down to first to start up again. We're gonna go take a quick left and practice our left-hand turns so she gets used to looking both ways. Practice that consistent gas pedal. Now Meg's clutch foot to me seems very, very solid. The reason we're still jerking a little bit is because she's pretty like not consistent with the gas pedal right now. So her foot is coming up, and that's, a lot of people don't understand it until they drive it, but your right foot and your left foot have this weird tendency to want to sync up. So Meg looks like she shifted to second on her own accord, which is fine because we already practiced this going around a circle. And then we're going to go ahead and drive up the street. If you guys are wondering what gears and what speeds to be in, or what, you know, at what speed to be in what gear. It varies by vehicle, you know, tire size, gearing, how many speeds you have. You know, some cars have up to 7-speed transmissions, others have only 3, 4, 5, or 6. This car has a 6, which is pretty standard these days. Why don't we just go straight up the street, Meg? As far as what gear to be in for what mile an hour, usually a good rule of thumb is for the first 10 miles an hour, it's first gear. 10 to 20 is second gear. 20 to 30 is third gear. 30 to 40 is fourth gear. 40 to 50 is fifth gear. And obviously above that, usually about your top gear or your sixth gear. Now, depending on how much power you need, you might have to gear down a little bit, or if you're just trying to get the best miles per gallon, you might want to gear up a little bit. But usually every 10 is pretty standard. Alrighty, Meg, let's go drive on the highway.
No.
Just kidding. Why don't we go into first gear again and get a couple more practice runs in here. All right. Take a right. You just
so I'm supposed to keep it between 1 and 2 to start.
Yeah, and you just want to keep it there. And then you want to let the clutch out while you're keeping it there. Yep, and just keep letting the clutch out nice and slow. Keep your foot on the gas. There you go. That was pretty good. I think that one was mainly Meg's very smooth clutch foot. The problem that Meg is kind of running into is that she's starting, you know, she pushes the clutch all the way in, and then she doesn't start letting the clutch out until she's starting to give it gas. So she's letting the clutch out for a long time before it starts engaging. Once you guys drive stick for a while, you won't have to push the clutch all the way in. You'll know where to push it into and where to start letting it out, so you don't have to wait as long. And that's kind of where you start getting your start getting more efficient with it, and less jerky, obviously, and all that. Let's go to second gear. And remember, this is very common when you first start driving stick, but you don't need a lot of pressure to move this. All you need to do is really just be deliberate with it. So push the clutch in, grab the gear lever, move it in that one linear direction. You know, you don't want to move it all over the place. You want to just go up and down, or up, over, and up, you know? So that is something you can just practice even stationary. Like Meg, if you want to just practice going from first to second right now, just keep your right foot on the brake, left foot on the clutch, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, now put it back in first. Okay, now just practice from going first to second. Yep. Nope. So you just want to go first to second.
Just do that.
There you go. Yep.
That's how I did it.
I know, but that was smoother than when you were driving. Now, granted, you're watching the road. That's what I'm saying. It takes practice and being deliberate, and your gear shifts will be much more methodical and smooth. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and get a right-hand turn, since left here is going to get us back to that crazy truck. Now, you can let the clutch out a little bit, remember? Before you take your foot off the brake, that's when you can let the clutch out to just before it starts engaging. Yep, gas, 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 gas. There we go. That was almost a perfect start by Meg right there. And it depends on your significant other or your student or whatever. I find that the people that I've taught stick, I usually more have to focus on their gas pedal foot than I do on their clutch, because they're so focused on the clutch because it's a new thing to them. They just completely forget about what their foot on the gas pedal is doing.
What would happen if I were to just slam on the brakes without putting in the clutch?
So if she doesn't put in the clutch and she just slams on the brake, that means she's going to be in some sort of gear, whether it's first through sixth. The car is just going to stall. Now, how violently it stalls depends on what gear you're in and basically what speed you're going from down to zero. Not a recommended thing, but obviously if you're about to get into an accident and you don't have time to think about putting the clutch in and you just need to slam on the brake, it's something that you can do. But it's not ideal. When you're in a manual car, whenever you're hitting the brake to go from high speed to no speed, like 0, 2 feet at a time.
How do I turn this off?
Turn what off?
Do I just let my foot off the...
Well, yeah, so I put it in neutral.
Yes, I'm good doing it.
So she's good to let her foot off the clutch. And when you park a manual car, So I guess this is the last thing, folks. When you park a manual car, if you're on a flat surface, it doesn't really matter what gear you put it in. So go ahead and pull the parking brake, Meg. Pull it nice and up. You don't. So when you pull the parking brake, you don't need to pull that.
Oh, it's only to let it go.
Yes, because you want to hear. You want to hear that. You want to hear the clicks. When you're taking it off, that's when you push it, pull it up, and then go. So pull it again until you hear the clicks. There you go. Okay. So the other thing with a manual transmission car, it is highly recommended that you park the car in gear, not in neutral. So that means, remember, when you turn the car on and turn the car off, you need to have your foot on the clutch. So Meg, why don't you put the foot on the, before you put your foot on the clutch, if you are facing uphill, aka you will roll backwards if you take your foot off of the brake, you should park the car in first gear. Because if you park the car in first gear, the car cannot roll backwards, and vice versa. If you are facing forward and the car will roll forwards, you want to park the car in reverse, because that's physically, the engine and the transmission are physically preventing the car when it's off from going the way the car wants to go, because it's literally geared to do the opposite. Does that make sense? Okay, so in this case, we're on a flat surface. Let's just pretend we were on a slightly inclined surface, so we don't want the car to go backwards. So what does that mean that we're gonna park in, Meg?
Reverse.
I said we don't want the car to go backwards.
Oh, first.
Correct. So why don't you put it in first, and then we'll shut the car off.
Do I need to do this?
Yes. So you push the clutch in, put it in first, parking brake's already on, and then she can hit the off button.
While the transmission is, or while the clutch is in?
Yes, you have to do that or else you'll stall.
Oh, okay.
Okay. All right, well, that concludes our video for part 2 of how to drive manual. Let us know in the comments below if you guys want to see part 3 and how Meg did. I think she did pretty well. We stalled what, 2 times, 3 times? That's not too bad for actual like road test. Stalling in the if you're stalling in the parking lot a lot, that's kind of a sign that you need to like switch up how you're learning. Whereas you're gonna stall out on the street a few times, it's gonna happen. So next time we will be out on the back roads, kind of going in and out of some local roads. The highway honestly is like very easy because you're just sitting in 5th or 6th gear, but it's getting hot in here and we gotta go do some other stuff. So I hope you guys appreciated the tutorial round 2. Remember that taxation is theft, and safe out there. See you for the next video.